Hi, I'm Alex from HD Labels, and today we're going to meet GoDEX, one of our key suppliers. I will let Daanish introduce himself properly, and yeah, we'll go from there. Go for it.
Thank you, Alex. Yep. So I'm Daanish from GoDEX, and my role is to manage the sales for the UK and the Irish region. So we work very closely with our partners within the region, a fine example being HD Labels. And with HD Labels, we work very closely to develop solutions towards various printing needs. So GoDEX is a manufacturer of label printing systems. Specifically, we tend to focus more so on direct thermal and thermal transfer technology. And we're a fully fledged manufacturer. All the production is taking place in Taiwan. And yeah, the advantages of having a factory which has full control over the complete production of a wholesome range of printers is that we have a very good assurance and control of the quality, the robustness, and the performance of our printers. We actually originally got into this industry perhaps, I believe, about 40 years ago. And over these many decades, we've been working initially more so as, we can say, a manufacturing consultant. So there are in the label printing industry quite a few, let's say, more household names for whom we have been producing printers in the past. And at some point around, I believe, 30 years ago, then GoDEX began to bring out their whole range, which was under the GoDEX brand. And yeah, these days we offer a range of desktop, mobile, industrial printing solutions, as well as accessories to go with it, all to tackle a number of different labeling set of requirements.
So where might we have seen GoDEX printers? You know, could you talk about some of the applications and solutions you guys have delivered? Yeah.
Sure. Well, the great thing about label printing equipment, when we are focusing more so on the thermal transfer and the direct thermal side of things, is that there is certainly a wide range of vertical markets in which we are targeting. So you will tend to find GoDEX printers in many, let's say, kind of B2B walks of life, such as retail settings with price markdowns, food and drinks, spirits. So a key application is certainly health and safety related information, specifically highlighting of allergy information.
So informative labels, really.
Certainly, yeah, best before dates as well.
Yeah.
And we also work very closely in the logistics market. So stuff like shipping, and also kind of transportation of other goods for manufacturing purposes. There is certainly a big emphasis actually on manufacturing, logistics, the food and drinks, and retail sectors. So we do tend to have a wide range of demands for label printing, and certainly in the current times, there has been an increase in the number of demands in healthcare sector and pharmaceuticals. Okay. So you would find label printing solutions, not specifically with just labels in the traditional sense. So pharmaceutical labels would be one, or labels for test tubes and vials for testing. Also, you would find our printers which are used for wristband printing, whether it's for newborn babies or patients who are admitted into hospitals. So really in healthcare systems, again, there is a wide range of requirements, and GoDEX is experienced to explore a number of other different markets, which perhaps you won't necessarily think that you would be using label printers. And a great example is in stuff like signage, in stuff like number plates, decorative ribbons as well, stick-in tags, the labels for plant pots. So we also support a complete print and apply system for labeling plant pots.
Okay.
And yeah, there are certainly a lot of versatile solutions for this market, suitable for outdoor purposes.
I think from our point of view, whenever anybody needs an informative, clear, low cost, fast label, thermal technology seems to tick most of the boxes. You know, if you're not looking for multiple colors, shipping labels being, you know, a key one with direct thermal, they need to last for a smaller amount or a limited amount of time, but they need to be right. And people, when they're shipping out their product, they want it instantly. They don't want it to be wiping off or, you know, smudging in the rain or whatever. And that's where thermal, you know, thermal print really, you know, it sort of, what would be the word? You know, it passes inkjet, you know, and so on. Can't think of the exact word I'm looking for there, but you know what I mean.
So with label printing devices, so the printers themselves, what is great that is that we are supplying a system which is enabling in-house printing. So you do in essence have more a greater degree of control over the production of your labels and the information that is printed over them.
Yeah.
And when, say, you do get some requirements for labels, you know, the time, the longevity of those labels can vary depending on, well, how long you need that information to be visibly shown on the label, and how long the label will be relevant for. Then yes, you will perhaps have a decision to make as to whether to go with something of a direct thermal technology, which is generally more so used for logistics and shipping, healthcare, where the labels are required for, let's say, a set period of time. And on the other end, we do have thermal transfer technology, in which a thermal transfer ribbon is tend to be used. And that's essentially like a roll of vinyl, which is loaded inside the printer. And from here, your barcodes, the printed information is all going to be visible for a lot longer. And you get varying grades of the thermal transfer ribbon as well. So with thermal transfer ribbons, it's actually quite versatile in terms of this decision which you have to make with GoDEX printers, because any printer which you purchase from GoDEX, which is a thermal transfer printer, you can actually toggle between direct thermal and thermal transfer mode.
Okay.
So in the thermal transfer mode, you would have a ribbon, but in direct thermal, you just toggle the setting and you work with thermal labels.
Okay. One of the key things we've seen over the past few years, whereas between direct thermal and thermal was primarily just used to make the label more durable, whereas with the introduction of foil ribbons, silvers, rose golds, and so on, it's allowed the end user to actually, you know, play with the quality, and different sort of styles of print. So it's not just about direct thermal being for a short run, sort of lower cost, and thermal transfer being just more for durability. Thermal transfer also allows you to start playing with the look and feel of a label, especially clear foils on clears and so on, and just, you know, overprinting. When combining also with an inkjet printer, you know, the end user can have some really cool end results if they want to play around and, you know, use that thermal transfer feature.
Agreed, and that's the sort of versatility that you do have accessible when you have your own label printing system. So you can do overprinting in-house and add more embellishment and finishing to, let's say, color labels. And yes, different sorts of foils you can use for personalization. So I guess example would be stuff like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's. So there is kind of a high degree of personalization in gift giving, but also in food labels, for example, with the packaging on foods and beverages as well. Then you can add more stylized finishing, which you wouldn't normally be able to achieve with simply using a color inkjet or a laser printer. So with the finishing that you can get with foils, then you can certainly make your label stand out a lot more and improve the brand aesthetic of the products that you are using with these labels.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of printers out there which are used with holographic foils, golds, silvers, and they work very well hand in hand as an overprinting process after the color label has been produced on a separate system, and that is with thermal transfer labels. So with the thermal transfer technology, the great advantage is that when you are using a ribbon as opposed to a full ink cartridge for the finishing, then the cost per label is significantly reduced, and you can hone in on more of the details depending on the resolution of the printers. So we are able to support printers which go up to 600 dpi resolution for very fine printing.
Yeah, that's one thing we've seen, say, with the GoDEX and sort of head technology moving on, 600 dpi, and also the width with the HD830. So actually being able to print 8.5 inches wide, whereas traditional, a lot of thermal printers tend to be for smaller, go up to maybe 4 inches in print head width. That allows, when paired with an inkjet printer, to print wide labels. That's something that's quite new, and although there are other printers out there on the market, a lot of them, when you wash down a GoDEX.
One great aspect about the printers is that generally across the board, at the back of the printers, you'll find a pretty familiar set of interfaces through which to connect and drive the printers. And each GoDEX printer is coming, in terms of the desktop and in the industrial printers, you would have a USB host, a USB device, serial, and Ethernet ports. And with these interfaces, you can connect with the printer and drive it a number of ways, even remotely so. We also offer a number of Bluetooth and Wi-Fi options, so there is certainly a great deal of connectivity as we're entering more of the IoT era.
As HD Labels, we've worked with other partners of thermal printers, previously, and one of the most confusing things for us was that every different model had many different versions of connections. So whether you could have a USB model or a serial model, if you wanted to link a keypad to the printer, that again was another model. For us, the GoDEX range, most of the models come with all of the connections. So it simplifies things, and they're future-proofed a bit as well. So they may not need that feature today, but they might want to network or connect a keyboard to the printer in years to come. So that was quite a key feature. We felt that what you get when you look closer at comparing a GoDEX printer to another printer, they look fairly similar in what they do and what they cost and so on, but it's looking further down, we find, the connectivity, and even more so the software. So that's going to take me on to talking about GoLabel. Probably one of the biggest features or the biggest useful features we find with the GoDEX thermal range is the software. GoLabel is great, but it's openness as well, which is really key. Would you tell us a bit about GoLabel software?
You're quite right there, Alex. So GoLabel is a really huge factor in the robustness and just the value of what you're getting with the purchase of a GoDEX printer. So with GoDEX, we have our own label creation software. It's called GoLabel. And with GoLabel, we don't work with any sort of license fees or subscription costs. You have access with a GoDEX printer to the fully unlocked version of our software. And that can be simply downloaded from our website. There's no registrations required. You simply install the software and away you go. So this works with all GoDEX models, and what it provides is a number of features that you would normally get on a premium version of the software. So with GoLabel, you're able to link databases, you're able to set up serialization, work with variables that are defined within the software by yourselves, and other sort of features would be calculations,
Barcodes in there as
highlighting
well?
or dating.
Do you barcode
Apologies, sorry.
support? Do you say barcode support and so on? I think is quite good, isn't it?
Yeah, so we support all major 1D and 2D symbologies, as well as some of the more niche stuff like allergen highlighting. So this is also possible within our software, and that's particularly relevant with the introduction of legislation related to
Just
NTAP's
to
law.
embellish on that, the allergen highlighting. So correct me if I'm wrong, but that means, so if you specify something like egg or milk and so on, things that need to be highlighted, nuts, you can put a feature in the software so that it automatically highlights or bolds that number out as it's meant to be on the label. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So you're able to create a table of terms which can be looked up by the software whenever a print job is run, and that table would contain allergens such as eggs, gluten, nuts, fish, and what is really good is that this is completely included with the software package. It's fully unlocked, so you would set up these terms. When you run the format for your print jobs, then the software will automatically look up for these terms, and you can define exactly how these are highlighted, whether it's
Brilliant, yeah.
bolded, underlined, the size is changed.
So
There's a
you can
type through.
protect yourself basically from
Yeah,
creating the wrong label, not conforming
absolutely.
to regulation.
Conform to all the incoming legislation, which is there to protect consumers against the allergy related issues.
Yeah, perfect.
Mm.
Another thing I think was good with GoLabel is that it's not limited to one user either. So if you had 2 or 3 systems in the office and you wanted to create, so we have a customer who has an office in Dubai and in the UK, and he was getting all of his foreign language labels from the guys in Dubai, but he'd have to type them all up himself here. So by taking on a GoDEX, and because he would print the labels in the UK, he was actually able to send the guys a copy of GoLabel. They would create the labels for him, proof it all over there, and then just send him the finished file. So all he was doing was printing here. Whereas before he was licensed to one PC, one user, and so on. So it's saved him having to proof things, the confusion of the labels, people doing things sort of Chinese whispers and so on. It's made it's just the GoLabel for him was a dream. The printer was actually second priority to him. The software was key, and he tried GoLabel before he even bought the printer for free, to make sure it did what he needed to do. And that for us was really helped us sort of sell and get the customers' confidence, in the printer before he even had it. So yeah, it was good.
A lot of, let's say, the more household names of label creation software, you would normally pay a license fee per device. And with GoLabel, even when you're talking about just a single printer, then you would be making hundreds of pounds of savings really against a more premium cost for a more unlocked software. When with GoLabel, you're able to access many of these features, if not all, just simply with
bottom of the range, isn't it? Even if you're spending £100 on a printer, you still have the full access of the software. Compared to a printer where you spend £2,500 on, and that's what we quite like. It's just simple, straightforward across the range. Yeah.
And of course, that saving does stack up as you have a need for more printers. So you have one version of GoLabel software, and from there, you're not paying any license fees. So you can use that software with any of our printers. And you're quite right initially in saying that it is possible to download the software initially before you bought a printer, just to familiarize with the software, make your label formats. So it's really friendly just to pick up and start working with it straight away, even before you've received your printers. Yeah.
And say no annual costs, no subscriptions, no nothing. Once you own your printer, you own GoLabel for life, effectively.
Certainly, yeah. And
updates and so on as well, isn't it? You can update the software if a newer, larger version, improved version comes out of GoLabel, as technology always evolves.
Yeah,
You can
certainly.
just download the new version.
So the latest version of our software is always found on our website, and we're always adding features. We're always listening to feedback from our customers, so we always encourage that. And of course, upon installing the software, then you have uh, a lifetime access to support from GoDEX on the software front. So if you're ever running into issues, then your customers are always welcome to get in touch with their suppliers or even GoDEX themselves, and we're always there to work closely and assist with any sort of issues
Yeah.
and just provide that assurance. So it's really a big cornerstone of our philosophy is kind of with the software, the fact that you're getting a ton of value and affordability on top of your printers, and we always remain closely working with our customers to build the perfect solution, because we know that generally speaking that no requirement is generally the same. So we do need to adapt, and we need to help everyone to understand the software and to build the format which is perfectly suitable to their needs. And this again goes hand in hand with our confidence in the printers as well in terms of the warranty period. So yeah,
Take that's good. That's what brings us on to our sort of last key feature, I think, that from our point of view is the warranties that come with this, with a whole range really. Is something we haven't seen with other manufacturers. So yeah, would you want to talk us through sort of what warranty options, or not options, what comes as sort of standard really on the GoDEX range, which is quite impressive. Yeah, go for it.
Absolutely. So with GoDEX, as I mentioned, we have complete control over the entire manufacturing process. So we are very confident in the robustness of our printers, in the quality and the durability. And we like to show that in our own way by offering extensive warranties, which are at no added cost. They come with the printer itself and are supported by the manufacturer as GoDEX. So with a desktop printer, for example, you would be working with a manufacturer's warranty period of 3 years. With an industrial printer such as the ZX and HD series, it will be 5 years. And generally speaking, in the market, a lot of manufacturers do tend to go with manufacturers' warranty periods of, say, 1 or 2 years. So we can quite confidently say that GoDEX is one of the leaders actually in terms of having this long-lasting warranty support and a huge stamp of our confidence on every printer that is sold and the consistency with which they are made. So it also goes hand in hand with how we do want to be there in the long term and ensure that you have a device which is fully meeting your requirements, but not just that, but for a long lasting period. So the lifespan of these printers is certainly a great factor.
Yeah, there and the best thing, and that warranty is standard. So there's no additional costs, no matter which desktop printer or which industrial printer you buy, comes with either the 3 or the 5-year warranty as a standard. So no needing to upgrade or renew an agreement in a year's time and so on. So that was quite, again, of the sort of the software, the warranty, the connectivity, the overall feel of a GoDEX printer. It's quite hard to argue against it. It ticks a lot of boxes, and that for us is key when partnering with GoDEX in the UK.
Well, on the warranty actually front, I wanted to also add that we have recently made a new announcement as well. So when we are talking about the industrial printers with the HD and the ZX series, so the HD series is covering our 8-inch printers, and the ZX are our 4-inch industrial printers. Industrial printers you'll generally need for labeling needs of, let's say, 10,000 labels printed per week. That's when you would look to use an industrial printer, or when you need a bigger roll. So we can now announce actually that we will extend the 5-year warranty agreement, not just with the HD and the ZX series, but also with the EZ series. So that covers the EZ2000 series of 4-inch printers and the EZ6000 series of 6-inch printers, both of which are very well adapted to a number of demands in logistics, horticulture, manufacturing, as well as the food industry. All of these printers are, of course, coming with a screen, and perhaps a great kind of selling point with our printers, especially the ones with the screen, is that you can set them up as a standalone printer. So what is standalone? Standalone is the ability to use your printer as a host device in itself. So all of the formats, the databases, fonts, any sort of special commands, graphics, they are all stored within the printer memory. And with that, you can run print jobs with just the printer. And normally you would be setting up some prompts within our software, within GoLabel. And so you can just simply connect any USB keyboard or a number pad or a scanner for data entry. And this is all available, again, just coming back to the software. It's all available with the version of GoLabel that you're able to download from our website. It's all free and included with the printer. So it's a huge, it's certainly a powerful package which we're offering, and we're not just looking to show our confidence and the value in our hardware, but also on the software aspect as well.
So with the standalone, so you could effectively create a pre-defined, so there's me as a business owner, I'm going to put 3 printers out on my shop floor, and I'm going to create a generic predefined design so that can't be altered by the team, but maybe leave a variable box where they need to put a best before date or an order number or something unique to each purchase there. So you could have your printer just hook a keypad up, plug a keypad in next to the printer, and then all the team would do would input the number they want, or maybe even just request the quantity of labels they want and hit go. So they get them instantly, but you're guaranteeing this sort of uniformed feel of your label, but also having unique data. I think that's quite a, that standalone feature. You just literally need a power cable into the back, and that's it, really. Is that, I'm reading that right, aren't I?
Yep, certainly. So all you're doing is you turn on your printer. If you have the formats downloaded, then you simply just connect the peripheral, like say a keyboard or a number pad or a scanner, and the printer will automatically pick that up and ask you whether you want to enter standalone, and you would simply press enter, and away you go. So yeah, with the prompting, then it does add a great degree of versatility in that you are able to input data on the fly. And yes, the formats would be pre-designed in GoLabel and stored within the printer, and that template can then be adapted to whichever product or prescription, or let's say kind of like another commodity which you would like to have the label printed for.
Obviously, the last year has been a bit of a challenge for everybody. The pandemic has made things very interesting. We all had a big panic at the start, but ultimately it's been for labels and branding, and especially a lot of our customers being, hand sanitizer producers, medical, and so on. It's been a busy year. How have GoDEX found this interesting period?
Yeah, so I mean, I'd just like to say, kind of for many individuals, it's been an especially tough period, filled with loss, hardship, and a lot of mental strain. And certainly businesses have been tested, and with labeling, it's present in a number of vertical markets. So you can certainly say that some industries have been affected more so than others, while others, such as healthcare, have required a massive requirement for upscaling and increased production processing of patients. So yeah, with the healthcare side of things, for example, we have been working to deliver systems to help with scaling up on applications such as vaccine rollouts and the COVID testing. So in Germany, for example, we work very closely with some prominent producers of COVID-19 vaccines. So yeah, this is an example of really kind of the demands kind of scaling up, and everyone in the industry coming to answer that call. Within retail applications, you can certainly see a huge increase in the labeling requirements and the demands, just not just on the front end storefronts, but also to deliver goods quickly and efficiently with minimal, let's say, human error influences. So there has been certainly a huge demand within the food and drinks retail. And then, yes, we have some real success stories of companies which already have the means of producing products which, let's say, have well, having the capabilities to make items like sanitizer, where they may not initially have done so, but to adapt their production. And again, that's been something which we have seen in terms of adapting the label formats and just using our software and our printers to make those quick adjustments and deploy as quickly as possible.
One of our big sellers really for GoDEX is the Rewinder range. A lot of people don't know that GoDEX don't just do thermal printers, but their Rewinder range, the T10, T20 and T30, offer a really affordable but solid little rewinder that we pair with most of our printers now, to be honest. So even non-GoDEX printers, we tend to, the GoDEX Rewinder range ships with. And yeah, just want to see what your, if there's anything you wanted to go through on the rewinders.
Well, we're both certainly big fans of this particular series of products, and what I do really like about the T series of our rewinders is that we're really kind of epitomizing where we want to be with GoDEX, in that we're offering high performance, very affordable rewind systems, which are also incredibly well designed and robust. And pair perfectly with GoDEX printers. So with the T series, we are offering, let's say, 3 distinct categories depending on the width of the labels that you are having printed and requiring to be rewound or even unwound actually into the printing system.
Yeah.
So the T10 would cover labels up to 4.7 inches wide, whereas you have the T20 series, which is for labels up to 6 inches wide. And then we go up to the T30, which is for labels 8.5 inches wide. So that covers all labeling requirements really on the rewinding side. And we do so at, in terms of the specification, at a pretty fast speed. So it is possible for this to sync very well with your printing systems.
I'll just say, so we can run up to 14 inches per second on those rewinders, but the best thing is they sort of step down to whatever the printer requires. And that's what we find, because they're not directly linked to the printer, they just use the dancer arm below. So as the material is fed, it just activates the rewind mechanism. So it's simple. That's the key thing for us, is they're simple. So you plonk them in front of your printer, pop your core on, attach your material, and then just turn the machines on, and they will manage the sort of speed. So whether we put them on a very slow inkjet printer, which is sort of crawling as it prints, it copes with that. But then you could be on a a ZX thermal printer and you're running at 6 or 6 inches per second, no problem. We even put them on memjet printers. They're very flexible, and as you say, they can be used as unwinders. So on a thermal printer, some of the desktop printers have quite smaller, for the footprint of the machine, a small internal label holder. Whereas if you want to use larger rolls of labels, you can actually have a GoDEX rewinder work as an unwinder and sit behind the printer and have another one in front. So effectively, you give yourself a giant unwind role. I have some customers who push the printers a bit far on that front, but you know, it can be done, and they do work, especially on the industrial printers. You can work with a much larger roll of labels if you are just continuously printing labels en masse.
If I was to summarize it, I would say the reliability, the quality of the outputs, which is essentially really the crux of a customer's need, is to have well printed labels. The longevity of the devices in terms of the warranty period, and the amount of value offered and power with our fully free and included, free and unlocked, I should say, version of our software for creating labels called GoLabel. So all of this, as well as the versatility when you get the printer itself, whether you want to toggle between thermal transfer and direct thermal, whether you want to work with a USB or a serial, an Ethernet, a Bluetooth, or a Wi-Fi connection, and even just something as simple as calibrating the labels. Just a quick word on that really is
That's a good
that
point.
a lot of our printers have, a very simple calibration button at the back. You hold it down for 3 seconds, and the printer will automatically find the gap or the black mark for your labels, and ascertain the label length and the size of the gaps.
So I think that's what's key for us, you know, working with GoDEX, the flexibility, the warranty, the software. GoLabel itself is awesome. The connectivity, so the printers come with most or pretty much all the connections you'll need. You can add Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. They don't come as standard because ultimately we don't get lots of requests for that. But you know, so there's no point paying for something you're not going to use. But those two features can be added. Yeah, all in all, I think, you know, the 5-year warranty is great. But the printers will probably go on a lot longer than that. We've seen a lot, you know, older machines out there. So yeah, all in all, we've been, you know, we love the product, and you know, looking forward to seeing how technology evolves and what's coming next, really.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I would just like to kind of add that the great service that we're able to support with customers of our printer is in no small part thanks to trained partners such as HD Labels, who are able to offer a real complete service in terms of being a one-stop shop for your consumables requirements in terms of labels, thermal transfer ribbons, any parts, and are really adding a ton of value on top of your printer purchase with the provision of expertise and experience with our printers, and a great smile.
We aim to. We don't want to be a box shifting sort of web shop. You know, we will, if you buy a printer from us and you need help setting it up, you know, we're here at the other end of the phone. We offer effectively lifetime phone and email support with any product we sell. So yeah, we will do samples for you. We'll make sure you find the right printer for you. And yeah, that's kind of our mentality. And I think GoDEX, you know, they firmly believe in their product. Thankfully, think the same way as us, and that's why I think it's quite a nice partnership. So yeah, brilliant. Daanish, thank you very much for your time and for taking the time to come on to here today. It's been really useful. I think it gives everyone a good little insight into GoDEX and some of the products, and you know, helps us understand what's going on. Yeah, so thanks for your time. And if anyone, you know, wants to find out any more on GoDEX products, any samples, feel free to get in touch with HD Labels at hdlabels.co.uk, and we'll be happy to help. Yeah, so thanks for watching today.